Your monthly subscription box from postflybox.com includes all the materials needed to tie a dozen flies, along with some extra goodies. The bristle worm is a very effective saltwater pattern that's proven itself to be especially attractive to permit and bonefish. It can be used to imitate both shrimp and crabs. Start by picking up one of the heavy-duty forged size 6 hooks and getting it firmly secured in the jaws of your tying vise. Then, load a bobbin with a spool of tan unithread. Get the thread started on the hook shank behind the eye, and after taking a few wraps rearward, snip off the excess tag. Take a few more thread wraps to cover up the snipped off end. Pick up a segment of bead chain eyes and place it on top of the hook shank at the location of your tying thread. Take 4 or 5 pairs of cross wraps to begin anchoring the eyes to the shank. Follow these with a full wrap around just the hook shank. Then make yoke wraps going over top of the bead chain eyes but underneath the hook shank on both sides of the fly. Do another full wrap around just the hook shank. Then make circular wraps beneath the eyes but above the shank to draw all the previous wraps in and enhance the connection. End with a few wraps around just the hook shank. Make sure the eyes are properly aligned perpendicular to the shank. Tease up and snip off a square inch of the tan craft fur down close to the backing. Strip out all the lower shorter underfur to leave an ample clump with nicely tapered ends. Measure to form a tail approximately 2 full hooks in length, then snip the excess butt ends off in line with the back of the bead chain eyes. Give your bobbin a counterclockwise spin so your thread will jump rearward on the first wrap to catch those very butt ends. Continue taking wraps rearward to bind the craft fur to the top of the hook shank all the way back to the start of the bend. Here, your thread should hang at about halfway between the hook point and the barb. To produce the fly's legs, strip the lower fuzzy fibers free from both sides of a brown saddle hackle feather. With the shiny side of the feather facing you, grab its tip and gently preen down the fibers just below the tip, like so. Lay the bare part of the stem against the near side of the hook at the location of your tying thread and snip the excess tip off, even with the back edge of the eyes. Use wraps of tying thread to secure the remaining part of the feather's tip to the hook shank all the way up to the eyes. Then, return your tying thread to the base of the tail. Snip a 4-inch length of the brown chenille free from the hank and strip the fuzz from one end to expose the string core. Lay the string core against the near side of the hook and take wraps of tying thread to secure it back to the base of the tail. End with your tying thread immediately behind the bead chain eyes. Start taking touching wraps with the chenille up the hook shank to create the body of the fly. When you reach your tying thread, use it to firmly anchor the chenille to the shank behind the eyes. Leave the excess chenille to simply hang off the front of the fly. Get hold of the bare hackle stem with hackle pliers and start making open spiral wraps with the feather forward over top of the chenille body. Gently preen the fibers rearward as you go. At the back edge of the eyes, firmly anchor the hackle stem with tight wraps of tying thread, then snip the excess feather off close. Advance your thread forward to in front of the bead chain eyes and continue taking wraps with the chenille to make a small head that surrounds the eyes. Secure the chenille with wraps of tying thread at the back edge of the hook eye. Reach in with your tying scissors and carefully snip the excess chenille off close. Keep taking thread wraps to create a neat little thread head and pin down any errant chenille fuzz. Get hold of your whip finish tool and use it to do a 5 or 6 turn whip finish, seat the knot well, and snip your tying thread free. Trim the hackle fibers from the top and sides of the body down flush with the chenille, leaving what looks like legs on the fly. Get hold of a medium-tipped brown permanent marker and use it to create a series of bands going down the fly's tail. This can be done simply by twisting the tail fibers in your fingertips. Head cement, here Sally Hansen hard as nails, applied to the bare thread wraps at the head of the fly, will ensure they don't come unraveled. And that's the bristle worm, ready to cast to wary bonefish or permit on a beautiful sand flat somewhere warm.